Turner, and this is the church I grew up in. This is my foundation, and I thank y'all for having me here tonight. And I just want to say how beautiful the singing was tonight. That touched my heart, and I just love the overall theme of love. I mean, every single song talks about the love of God, and that's why we're all here, and that's what I'm in Honduras for, is the love of God. And one of the songs that they sang tonight, I don't know if this is the title of it, but More Than Wonderful. I just want to read part of that because it just touched my heart. Hold on, let me find it. I stand amazed when I think of the King of Glory should come to dwell within the heart of man. I marvel just to know he really loves me when I think of who he is and who I am. For he is more than wonderful than my mind can conceive. He is more than wonderful than my heart can believe. He goes beyond my highest hopes and my fondest dreams. He is everything that my soul ever longed for, everything he promised, and so much more. More than amazing, more than marvelous, more than miraculous could ever be. He is more than wonderful, and that's what Jesus is to me. That is why I do what I do in Honduras, because God's love for me is something I've never deserved, nothing I can ever earn. And it is just the location that he has put in my heart and my passion for serving that culture. But we're all called to do that every day, everywhere we are. And so I encourage each one of you, if you'll leave here tonight, to just remember, we're all missionaries. We're missionaries right where we are and right where God calls us to be. I just happen to be in Honduras. So for me, I have been going to Honduras for the past 7 years, off and on. I moved to Dothan after I graduated college and got a job there with the church I got involved with in medical missions in Honduras. And so I started going to Honduras and fell in love with the culture, fell in love with just the people there and their heart. And I went back every year, and just within like 2 years of being there, God really did a work in my heart to call me to be there more. And I didn't know what that looked like, and I walked that out day by day, week by week, just trying to surrender my wants and desires for what God wanted for me. And that has not been a straight uphill journey. That has been down and up and down and up. But God has been faithful through it all. And I can look back at every single step and see how God provided the next step, which led to the next step. And it was this July when I moved there full time. And so I am stationed in Siguatepeque. It is the center of Honduras. And we actually have 2 guests here with us tonight that are from Honduras. I met them, they're neighbors of Joe and Carol, so I'm so glad to have them here tonight. But, yes, over the past several years, I've been doing independently physical therapy and women's ministry in different forms and fashions, just as God has led me, but I want to talk to you tonight just about the time that I've been down there full time since July, because that is the time that I have been focused more on, well, not focused more on, that is the part that I have been doing ministry the most, I guess, in depth, and what that's looked like the past 6 months. So my major focus for the past 6 months has been learning the language and learning the culture. And so this right here is just a picture of the front of a language school that I've been attending 4 hours a day, every day for the past 5 months. And I can say that my Spanish has improved drastically, and it has been a blessing to be a part of this church, this school, and the teachers that are there. They don't just teach language. They teach culture, and they really are missionaries themselves in the way they love the students there. So that's been a blessing to be a part of that. I'm going to kind of go through these next few slides pretty quick because I don't want to take up all your time tonight. But some of the things we did outside of actually learning language was learning culture. And so they taught me how to do some typical Honduran cooking. And that was really fun, and I love Honduran foods. That's just some pictures of some of those. I'm sorry if y'all can't all see it. You're welcome to grab a chair and scoot closer if you would like to. We went to a local nursing home that's in Siguatepeque, and it's called Hogar de Ancianos. And all the students participated in this just visitation that day, but I utilized my time there to do physical therapy with a bunch of the residents. So that was just a really wonderful blessing to get involved with them. We got to go to a movie premiere. This is one of the first movies about Honduras made in Honduras, and has a, I guess, complete staff that are Honduran. And so it was a really great pleasure to go and enjoy this movie. It was very much about the culture of making coffee and farming, and I learned a lot about Honduras just from watching this movie. Local donut shop we got to go to. Those were really good donuts, by the way. Sorry I couldn't bring any. But this lady right here, she is a precious soul. She doesn't look like it, but she's 97 years old. And her husband started this local donut shop when they first got married, and he has since passed away, but she still is the owner and gets up every morning and works. Now she's got a staff that helps her, but she was just a precious soul. She was telling me how she used to be Catholic, and that she converted to evangelical Christian. I don't remember how old she was, but she gets up every morning at 4, reads the Bible, and then she gets to work, and they make 4,000 donuts every day.
Oh, wow.
But it was just a blessing just to get to know her and talk to her for a little bit. In September 15th is Honduras' Independence Day. And so there's a lot of activities that go on in September, but one of the things we did at this school was learn a lot of culture. Each one of the students, paired with their teachers, talked a little bit about different tribes of Honduras. Honduras is full of Mayan Indian culture. And so that really helped learn a lot of culture in Honduras, a lot of history as well. Feliz Dia del Niño, that is Day of the Child. We celebrate here Mother's Day and Father's Day, but we really don't celebrate Day of Children, but in Honduras they do. And it is probably one of the biggest festivals they have, or days they celebrate all year long. And so us at the school, the teachers and the students partnered with another missionary there, and we celebrated Day of the Child with a school in Siguatepeque that is a school for children with disabilities. And so all of these children just had a wonderful day, but that was just really good. And then also, I am very involved independently with this school doing physical therapy. This was one of the first things that I had intended to do, was work with a missionary that's involved with the school as well to evaluate all the kids for physical therapy and see what their needs were, because some of them have tremendous needs in therapy and some of them don't, but to really look at that. So we're going through some of the different pictures. This is Evan. He is 16. He has a severe scoliosis, and so he does not have an opportunity to have surgery for a lot of different reasons. But I've been working with him twice a week for several weeks, and it's really just to teach and train how to stretch his muscles. His legs are really contracted in that position, meaning he can't straighten his legs, so he crawls with his hands and knees. His curve in his back is starting to affect his breathing, and so his necessity for therapy is tremendous. So I have really enjoyed working with him, and it can make me sad sometimes to think about it too, but I'm just grateful to be able to be there to help him, because he doesn't have access to therapy at all. Another child, she is 22. Her name's Frances, and she had a tumor on her spine when she was little and had it removed, but it left her a little bit paralyzed. So we work on her legs and just strengthening as much as we can to help her maintain her mobility. Right now, these are the only two kids that I'm seeing consistently twice a week. And the reason is because they're old enough to comprehend what to do and to follow through with it. The other kids that I work with, I do see them. This is just a couple of them that I have pictures of. But the goal is to really get their parents involved, and that is a struggle. That hasn't looked exactly how I had intended it to look, nor the missionary, and So hopefully in January, we're going to try to catch all the parents on the day when they come to register. And so hopefully, prayerfully, the parents will get a little more involved and we can really help these other kids that have some major needs too. Some other things I've been doing with physical therapy is just as people have needed therapy. There's been so many different ways. Some of the teachers at the language school have come to me and needed therapy themselves, or their family members, or some of the students have. This man on that side, what side is that? Right side? He was like, if he was the only reason I went to Honduras, it was so worth it. And I want to take the time to tell you his story. He is a father of 4, and his wife and him live out of the city a good ways, and so they don't really have a lot of people close by. His wife does try to work by selling food, but doesn't really have a whole lot of success in that. And then their 4 kids don't work because they're not old enough. And so he had an injury to his knee a month before I met him, and he had been out of work for a month. And him and his family are in a very poor level in Honduras. Nearly probably 60% of Honduras live below poverty, and he was one of those. But for him to not be able to work for a month was tremendously hard for his family. And so a friend of a friend contacted me and said that he tore a ligament. The doctor wanted him to go to therapy, which was 2.5 hours away. He didn't have a way to go. And so I jumped on the opportunity to help him, and within 2 to 3 weeks, I think 2 weeks he got back to work, 3 weeks he didn't need me anymore. And so that was such a blessing to be part of helping him in that journey. And the doctor had told him he probably wouldn't be back to work for 3 or 4 months. So that was just a heartwarming thing, and just to see how grateful his family was. When I went to their home one time, his wife was giving me banana bread and bananas and all kinds of things that they had in their home that they really couldn't give me, but they were giving me anyway out of gratitude. So that was just a pleasure. 2 of these guys in the middle, one guy that's cutting grass, and then the picture on the bottom center. Those are 2 people that I have been seeing consistently for physical therapy, patient-wise, in my home. One of them is a missionary with some posture issues, and then one of them is a guy that had stroke 10 years ago. And so, one thing I have not told you is, Siguatapeque, where I live, being in the center, there's no therapy. There's not really a whole lot of therapy offered in Siguatapeque. And so, most people for any kind of therapy that's any kind of good quality have to travel about 2.5 hours one direction or the other. And most people can't afford to do that. So I know that God put me right where I'm supposed to be be able to help these individuals. Got to do a little therapy on the 3-week-old too. That was just, that's fun. All right, now I just put this slide in here. This is just a little bit of the past other trips and medical missions that I've been a part of, and just physical therapy stuff. So when I went with my church, it's been medical, including doctors, nurses, dentists, eye doctors, physical therapists, and so I was usually the only physical therapist, and so I got to do and see a lot of good stuff there. And then this sweet angel right here, her name's Jennifer. She just has my heart. She's got cerebral palsy, and she's 9 now. But when I first started working with her, she had no mobility. She couldn't roll. She couldn't hold her head up. She couldn't do anything because of a lack of knowledge. Her parents, or her mother, and her grandmother that have raised her didn't know what to do with her. And so she sat in a hammock or a stroller all day, every day, and she never had the ability to build any muscles in any form. And so we worked with her very consistently. A missionary that lived in that area, I taught what to do with her, and so she worked with her very consistently. And Jennifer now can sit up on her own. She can hold her head up on her own, and that's been a course of about 2 years. But that has just been one of the things I have loved being part of. Now, physical therapy is my passion, and it's the job that the Lord has given me. But He has also given me a passion for women's ministry, particularly with young women. This has been some of the times in the past where I've done Bible studies with some girls. Now, these are all Bible studies in English because these girls speak English, but I am now about to venture into doing Spanish Bible studies now that my Spanish has improved. But this is some of the girls that I've just been involved with in their lives, and just mentoring them and encouraging them in their relationship with the Lord. Excuse me. I have a little bit of a cold, and I'm sorry. All right, so the past 6 months that I've been down there, God has put some other women in my life that I've just tried to build relationships with. These are 3 of them. 2 of them are the teachers at the school, and 1 of them was my landlord at an apartment. But just unique circumstances have given me the ability to develop some really close relationships with these girls and see their brokenness, their heart brokenness for certain situations in their lives. And God has just really used my past experiences and a lot of things to speak into the lives of these girls. All right. I am a resident of Honduras now. Yay! That was a long process. I started it when I first got there, but it was a 3.5-month process. It's a process I had to go through for a number of reasons. Number 1, I don't have to leave Honduras now every 90 days, and so that saves plane tickets and money there. But also, I don't have to leave Honduras, this is the first step for me to be able to work in Honduras. Right now, Brother Joe had said something about I live on nothing but donations, and that is true. Right now, that is all I live on is donations. I hope to one day be able to work in Honduras. There is a pathway, but it's a long pathway, and a pathway that doesn't have any clear direction. It's not like here, you can go to this office and get this set of rules and do it this way. It just doesn't work there. I've already bounced from 6 different offices to try to figure out what the next step is, and I've always been told, no, you're supposed to go here. So it's definitely a process that I'm still in, but this was the first step, and so that's a huge success. Right now, I have finally been able to move into a house that the Lord has just provided at the right time. It gave me extra space to actually be able to do therapy in my home. And so I've developed, but I've got an extra room. I have had some therapy equipment. And so now I have a space to put all of that. And so that's been a huge blessing to have as well. And some other things that I've been involved in. The students at the language school and the missionaries that run the language school do a Tuesday night home group, and it's in English. So I get to do that on Tuesday nights. And then I've also found a church home that I know I'm supposed to be in this moment. I think that there's possibilities for change in the future for a bunch of different reasons, but for right now, I know where God wants me is in this church. It's called Centro Cristiano Internacional. And it's pretty close to my house, so I can even walk. And they are starting some women's ministry programs there as well, and so I'm trying to get involved in that as best I can. Since last year, when I knew that I was going to be moving to Honduras full time, I then made the decision to go ahead and join the missionary fellowship down there. It's called Honduran Fellowship of Missionaries and Ministries, and they have helped me with a ton of different transitions. And so I am there independently, but I have a plethora of support. This is not even everybody that's within the missionary realm. There's probably 900 to 1,000 missionaries part of this organization. And we're broken up into small regions and groups. So I am a part of this organization. Under them, they have the Running for Him 24/7 ministries. If you want to do any donations, there's a page down here. You will see that name because that name is the one that handles the donations. So if you're going through that agency, Running for Him Ministries is going to give to me, but it has to be through their name. And then Whole Heart Missions is my independent mission name. And they have missionary conferences every year, twice a year, and so this was just the fall conference that we got to participate in. So I've already kind of talked a little bit about this, but some of the missionary ministries that I'm doing in Honduras is working with the special needs school, trying to see children twice a week as much as I can, and hopefully in the future getting involved with teaching the parents and the teachers and how to care for these kids. Also just providing therapy, education, and training for individuals as they come, and just whatever aspect is needed. One-on-one mentoring. One-on-one mentoring with women, just again, as the Holy Spirit leads, I try to daily surrender to God to say, Lord, use me in whatever way you want and help me to be sensitive to see who needs your word and needs your encouragement. And through that, God has blessed me to be able to have people come up to me and just talk to me and feel open and be comfortable talking to me about things they wouldn't normally talk to with others. Continuing to work with medical brigades, I do continue to do that a little bit, and just sharing the gospel as the Holy Spirit leads. That's a hard thing to do. I think that's hard for us all to do. It takes us out of our comfort zone. And I was at my church in Dothan this morning, and the message was on boldness. And we need to pray for boldness, and we need to pray for those in missions. Paul, I think it was in Ephesians 6, was asking the people to pray for him for boldness. And we all know Paul's mission was tremendous, and he shared the gospel like no other, but he was asking the people to pray for him for boldness to preach. And so I request y'all to continue to pray for me for boldness as well. Okay, so working in Honduras, I talked about the steps. First step was getting residency. Second step is getting the license, my physical therapy license approval. That's where I'm at right now, and that's where I'm bounced to a couple of different offices. And I think I finally know where I'm supposed to go, but I ran out of time before I had to come home. So when I get back, that's the first thing I'll be focusing on. And then I have to go to medical college to get the working permission after I get approval. So a couple of different options for actually working. There are some local hospitals and clinics that I've talked to the directors of. They're certainly very interested in having me work with them. But just another, I guess, example of I'm not sure what the exact steps are. I've been told, yes, you can work as soon as you get approval. And I've been told, no, you can't work for 2 years until you've had your residency for 2 years. So I don't know. We'll have to see. Independent therapy clinics. Right now, that's what I'm doing. Right now, that's what I have in my house. But I still do want to continue the legal processes. I'm a visitor in that country, and I want to do it correctly. So that's still an option. Some other things is teaching exercise and wellness classes. I hope to do that a little bit more in the next couple of months. And then some therapeutic massages. I've had many missionaries ask me if I would give them a massage. I said, yeah, you can pay me. So I really just mentioned all of this, the next 6 months, kind of what to expect. Continuing to work towards getting approval to work there, building patient caseload, working on exercise classes and wellness classes. One thing that I haven't mentioned that I would love to do, and this is more the volunteer aspect of it, there's a lack of knowledge, and I don't know where it is. I'm still working on that, but there's a lack of knowledge in medical care. And that's, I think, partly why you see a lot of disability there is there's not any prevention medicine, and there's a lot of people that just do not seek medical care. And so I want to provide monthly health education for the community. And so I don't know what that's going to look like, but I am going to work towards trying to build education classes on things like diabetes and high blood pressure, and then probably including some therapy components to some of those things, but definitely just general medical stuff too. Let's see. I already talked about a little bit of that. Beginning and working towards a women's Bible study. I talked about, I've done it in English, but now we're going to try to work on it in Spanish. And so those 3 women that I showed you, I've already talked to them. They're very interested in possibly doing a women's Bible study. 2 of them are teachers at the school, so that will actually help that transition go a little bit better because they don't know English, but they're very good to help with the Spanish. So I still think that will probably be a good transition into a Spanish Bible study. Some other opportunities. Locally in Siguadapeque, there is a soccer team that I I have a friend that goes to church with some of these guys, and he is very much involved in ministry for some of these guys, and he asked me if I would be willing to do therapy with them and the team. Now, their season is over, but hopefully next year I might be involved in doing some therapy for the local soccer team. And then that's just one picture that I have, but there's several individuals that have sent me different messages saying, hey, will you come check out my cousin? She's got a disability, want to see what we can do. So she's just one of the examples. Okay, so we're kind of wrapping it up, and I want to just kind of talk to you about two things. Prayer requests. I need your prayers. I have enjoyed seeing how God has worked in every aspect of this, but the devil has been on my heels in a lot of it too. And a lot of it in the aspect of, I get lonely down there. And it's hard building relationships, and I miss my family, and I miss my friends. And so praying for me in that aspect, that would be very, very helpful. Just that the Lord would just continue to give me boldness to do what I'm doing. Praying for my license process, the direction for working and to getting an income established. Praying for the parents to be involved in the special needs school and the children's therapy. Progressing with the vision of that exercise training class. A church home. The church I'm going to, I mentioned, is a good church, but there's some issues with me not being able to do certain leadership roles within the women's ministry. And so I've definitely been in prayer with God leading me to a church home that feels like family, and so if you would pray for me in that too. And then just other opportunities to serve the community with therapy. And then the most important, and I hate to talk about this, but it's most important, is I need monthly supporters. I can't do what I'm doing without your support. I left my very well-paying job here, and it has been a blessing to have that job because it funded me for the past 7 years to go. It funded me to get established there, but now that I've left that job, I am on monthly support. And on the other page, you'll kind of see those financial needs and what I'm having to pay for. I mean, I know it's monthly living expenses. You don't think about, oh, I'm giving to a missionary to help her mission, but I'm just paying a bill. You don't know how much that, if I don't pay my bills, I can't live there. I can't do what I'm doing. So those are definitely important for me. My monthly budget, I put it there. I'm trying to have $1,500 a month. Now, I don't know what y'all think, but $1,500 a month is not a whole lot. It's not a whole lot. But in Honduras, things do go a long way. So that does help. But right now, my current monthly support is $700. Now, God has been faithful every month, and it has been a challenge for me to just trust that God was going to provide it every single month He has. There's been one-time donations here or there, and it's always been enough. Some supporters that I had at the beginning have had other things that have come up and have taken away some of it, like had to stop giving, and so that has affected me a little bit. But God is faithful, and I trust Him, and I see how He's provided every single step of the way. And so, if you will just pray, and God puts it on your heart to give, I greatly appreciate it. If not, your prayers are actually even more important, that God would send those people that are supposed to give. Okay, so this, you don't really have to write any of it down. If you want the information, there are 2 ways to contribute through the Running for Him Ministries. You can mail a check, or there is an online PayPal account. You don't have to have a PayPal to pay into it, but that information is on this table right here if you need it. And then my mom also has that information if you would just rather ask her. And I think that is pretty much all. That is where I live. See Guadapeque, that's just a pretty sign that they have in my village. And that's all.